Ooh, I can only share it to groups. Hey, how's everybody going? Doing good today? Okay, and I'm actually I've got myself on my phone, so please excuse me. I was gonna share. Hey, how's everybody going? I don't even. Okay, no, everybody's just gonna have to find me. Okay, so we've got some Morphew updates. We're going to go through. We had some people that were really inquiring about missing Colorado mom Suzanne Morphew from our last show, and I was pretty heavily invested in this case for the past couple of years. Last show we had Lauren Scharf. She's an investigative journalist out of Colorado. We had her on the air, and it was an absolute delight. She is just such a joy. Absolutely love Lauren. But I'm going to bring on my co-host.
Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering if you were going live there. So all of a sudden,
well, I was gonna share the link, and I'm like, because it come up so fast, and I was like, oh no.
Okay. Well, yeah, we had pretty decent audience. We're on episode 5 now, and wow, the time flies since we're only doing one show a month. That we did, but yes, we did have. I had several inquiries about, hey, what is that whole story? Because we did sort of jump in about 3/4 of the way through.
I just assumed that people know about Suzanne, but maybe that's just me being arrogant. I just think everybody knows about Suzanne's story, but a lot of people don't.
No, yeah, I found that out, and it's like it would have been nice to know what we were talking about. But so hey, let's go through that, and then we're going to talk about a really hot topic of sex trafficking. I know that's one thing everybody wants to talk about, but we'll go through the Suzanne Morphew stuff and bring it up to date. And we do have a couple of little updates on things. And I had an interesting sighting this last weekend that was sort of freaked me out, but we'll talk about that too. So, hey, Dee Dee, go ahead and let's bring us up to speed on this, and I'll just sort of fill in the gaps on what I know.
I'm just going to do a brief rundown from the very beginning with Suzanne. Suzanne went missing on Mother's Day of 2020. She supposedly went for a bicycle ride on Mother's Day, and she never came home. She was actually never found. Her bicycle was found a little bit up the road from her home, down in a brush, lots of trees and bristles and bushes and whatnot. But her helmet was found later. But there was never any. Suzanne is yet to be found. There's been a lot of, I don't know if I could say hearsay.
Speculation, of speculation. Yeah.
Objection, hearsay.
Yes. Sustained.
Her husband, of course, is the only suspect. He's been the only suspect, I think, from the beginning, and with just cause. I'm going to try to.
Because it's very very remote out there, and where they found the bike was it really looked like somebody tossed it down there.
They had to have.
There was no,
because that embankment was so steep. She would have had one heck of a time crawling up out of there.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. I don't know.
A lot of interesting things. So going to a job on Mother's Day on Sunday and 2 hours away.
That's another thing. Wasn't it that when that was on a Sunday? You have to get permission from the city to do contracting jobs on Sundays. Sundays is a day where contractors are not supposed to be doing, not just contractors, but city workers. Your highway workers, your road workers, your hard, rugged employees that are employed by the city. That's you don't do that.
Yeah,
you have
especially
to get
on Sundays.
Permission to work on Sundays.
Yeah,
and it was later that from what I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't get that. He didn't get any permission, any written consent to do any construction or cement work, nothing like that on the Mother's Day. And it just seems odd that you would leave your wife on that day. The girl, her daughters, she's got 2 daughters, beautiful girls. they were out camping. I believe it was Idaho. Was it Idaho or Utah? One of the two.
It
Uh,
was Idaho, I believe.
Idaho.
Idaho. Yeah, they had gone for a week of some kind of camp that they went
Yeah,
to.
and Barry had stated that his wife was tucked in the bed asleep, and he kissed her good morning, and then he went off for work, and then that was the last time he seen her.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too because when they talked about her going and riding, she was an avid rider apparently.
She was a
That
beginner.
she put her bike on a bike and drove somewhere. She didn't ride
She didn't ride
from the
to and
house.
from. She
There's
put
a
she
there's
had a Range Rover,
a
so
lot
and
of
that would
stuff.
make sense. It's a mountainous terrain, so she would put her bike at the top of the rack on the very hood of her Rover. Um, it's just weird, very
Yeah,
strange.
I mean, it's weird. And honestly, I went out there on that search to to see what was there. And I mean, it is remote. I mean, it's just out where there's really no body. So
Vast.
one of the speculations was that there was, we're going to talk about sex trafficking, and that she got sex trafficked. I don't know a lot of sex traffickers that do, not they do mostly kids and stuff. I mean, they'll get younger ladies,
In
but not
Suzanne's defense,
okay.
she did look a lot younger than her age. She was very petite. She was in great shape. She's got a very youthful, almost want to say like a Cupid doll face, big eyes, big smile. She's very beautiful. And nowadays, they don't just traffic little kids to sell them. They also traffic women to use in baby farms.
Well, yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
Epstein was up to. He was wanting his own baby mill, basically. So, but then again, women of any age get kidnapped. Women of any age. You don't have to be in your 20s to be kidnapped. Not every kidnapping is a trafficking. Colorado is full of deranged men.
yeah, it does say. I mean, that's where John Benet Ramsey and there's like
Yes.
several. I mean, it's almost the saying is if you want to get rid of your wife, move to Colorado, and that's exactly what
I
Barry
hate
did.
that. I hate
I
that
know. I am
more.
just saying. I don't make up the sayings. I'm just telling you what I
But you're
hear.
right. If like, and there's it's not just that, but the Chris Watts case as well. I mean, he killed his wife and his pregnant wife and two baby girls. I mean, he did not think that through at all.
Is
He
it the
really,
altitude? I don't know. But
I don't know.
Barry's
I
from
think
Indiana. I mean, he's from Indiana,
it's the
and they moved out there, and I
you
don't the
when you have
isolation. I think so.
folks that move from smaller, busier areas and they go up to the mountains in Colorado, it's very desolate. It can be very confining. You feel very lonely. But in Watts's case, he had a whole neighborhood. There was, a community and a pool that their baby girls would go swimming, and there were friends. He had colleagues and a job. I mean, so it's not like they were out on Overlook Mountain with no sign of civilization. He had a community around him. But I think with Morphew, they were a little bit more desolate. And from what
Oh
I
yeah,
seen or what I read, Suzanne didn't really have a support system. She didn't really have
well,
like a group.
it was pretty much her hairdresser that she had a couple friends there where she went and got her hair cut with the girls and
Right.
stuff. They were pretty close with things. And I met them on the search. If the last show we showed the dinner that there was two
Right.
of them there, but
Yep. I
there
seen that.
wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like Alexandria here in Indiana where everybody knew who you were. Your dad owned the root beer
Well, and
stand.
she
It
had been
was
there her entire life.
yeah,
And that's where
and
her doctor was, and that's where she raised her daughters. Like, you have such an emotional attachment. Me, I do not know what that is like. I was a military spouse. I hold no emotional attachment to anyone. I've got my favorite places that I enjoyed to be at, but I don't hold an emotional attachment or longing at any one place because we were never really there long enough for me to build that. So,
right.
but she had this community that she grew up in, and she had lifelong friends, girls that she went to high school with that she was still close to. That's where she raised her girls, and for just out of the blue, they moved. leaving her
Yeah, it
with
was it was
no
fairly
place to go.
it was fairly quick, and the deal was if you look at how
Mm-mm.
many is
No,
that one of your
sorry, it's my kid.
youngins? You got wait, that so you could tell by how many friends
Let me put
from
here.
Alexandria that came out to the search. I mean, there was definitely some connection there to try to help Andy, but I think that people are very frustrated because one of the things that latest developments is the DA is actually in some trouble. Is that what I
Yes, she
heard?
is. Yes, she absolutely is, and I have it all right here. She has been. I'm. It's not disbarred. She's been suspended. Okay. Um, I've got her voter results. Also, I got her tallies.
Yeah, I saw that. She won by quite a bit.
She did. I'm not going to fault her for that if their election was legitimate.
Oh boy, here we go. They took one of my episodes off of YouTube on another show I do because of that thing, and it was episode 27, which would have been about a year ago. YouTube just took it down because of some election comment. I have to go
Oh
back and
my
look.
gosh! Don't
So
even.
now,
You're not
thanks,
allowed to say the E
thanks for getting
word.
us kicked off of YouTube now because you said that. So it'll be a fact checker and all that. So yeah, thanks. So it's like our large audience has just got cut in half from YouTube. So
Right.
but
So
yeah,
what we have.
so I don't know what's up with that. I mean, what's the reasoning she had suspended? Was it because of evidence in this case, or was it a separate case?
Okay, this is where, and I had a feeling, and in a way, I was hoping that they would not go to trial. I didn't want it. Just in my opinion, I did not want them to go to
Yeah, they're
trial.
going to lose.
They absolutely would have lost. They did not have enough. There was just not enough at all. And they arrested him, and of course he was put in jail until his the pre-trial and whatnot. And she really kind of, in my opinion, she shot herself in the foot. She really jumped the gun. But I think the reason why they arrested him so quick is because I think now this is just allegedly, in my opinion only, don't come for me. I think they thought he was going to run.
Yeah, I think, and then when he ran, he'd be guilty unless he did a slow
Well,
speed chase like OJ or
and
whatever.
this would have been harder for them to, if
Extradite
what state
yeah.
he was going to go to. You have to extradite him back, but you have to have a slew of evidence for extradition. So I think that's why they jumped the gun, is because this is just in my opinion, they suspected of him running.
Yeah, and there was quite a bit of pressure. I mean, from the family, and one of the things I got a little freaked out last week, and I can't mention who the family member was, but I'm at the Republican convention here in Indianapolis, and this person came up and just freaked me out. I'm like, oh my gosh, but the news that I don't even think I've told you this is that they actually do think they can find her. They really do
That's
think
what I read. They do feel
and
that
that's just not smoke and mirrors, but they actually are. It's not just saying, "Oh, that's our reasoning," but to suspend the case. But I was talking to Lauren off the air, and when she didn't get called as a witness, and I can understand me not getting called, but she would be a good witness to have, and
was
neither
she
one of
called
us
in?
were. No, we were on the list. We were on the list, but nobody was called to testify. So I already sort of knew that this was going to go by the wayside. I was surprised that, so I really think that they were just doing this for a test run. And I think they're going to come back and do it again and do it right.
I do.
When they
but
get
here's
to places.
the thing. And I know it can be done. It can be done. You can get a murder conviction without a body, but it is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think it would
Very
be
difficult.
a slam dunk if they could find her in
They
between there and
need
Broomsfield, where
right
he went to
now.
work.
But keep in mind, since it's already been 2 years.
I know it.
Okay,
It's like it seems like 10.
It does. It does seem like it's been longer than just 2 years. Determining, and I do not want to get morbid. And I apologize, but
You're gonna get hate mail.
Okay, they can bite me.
More hate mail. I'm sorry, more hate mail.
Have I gotten hate mail?
I don't know.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to.
I think we would at this point. We would
to please people.
We would welcome some hate mail at this point. So that's good.
But with it being 2 years, determining the cause of death is going to be a little bit harder. See what I'm saying?
And every time that there's somebody found there, it's always like, is it Suzanne? So I guess they found somebody out there that was skeletal remains, but I never heard if, obviously it wasn't probably Suzanne, or are they still trying to identify the person? So
I think the one you're thinking of is actually a young woman that went missing in the late 90s.
Okay. So it's not even, So I need to pay attention more. That's what I have you for, to help me. And that's what our audience has you for, to help us stay up on this.
This is what is like mind blowing to me, not meaning to stray away from this subject. Just in the past year, the number of bodies that have turned up. What is going on, Colorado? What?
Telling you,
it's
man.
Raining bodies.
I tell you, when I'm out there, it is beautiful. I mean, the terrain, but you get used to the view. After a while, it's the same old view. But when you're out there, it's like very beautiful.
It is
but
absolutely breathtaking.
You have to be.
It really is.
If you're an extroverted person and you had a lot of friends, it could be very a lonely, beautiful view to stay busy. And you got a couple daughters that are gone. One's gone on to college, the other one's getting ready to go, and you don't really have work to do, type of thing. I could see how it could get to be sort of isolating. I think it could be a problem. But beautiful home. I mean, all that, just beautiful area.
It is very beautiful. I mean, I've seen many, like dozens and dozens of pictures of the home, and it doesn't even look like a woman lived there at all.
Well, what do you think about, let's do this, Barry posted pictures of him reading the Bible and all that. We're going to do a segue into our trafficking thing here. So I think where I'm going with this one, Dee Dee. He read the Bible and showed scripture, and a lot of people, and I talked to some people.
Only when the camera was on and when people were watching.
Yeah, that's what sometimes that facade of maybe, say, a church that maybe not doing what's right. Do you have any stories about a church that we might want to talk about tonight?
There's been a trafficking bust at a local church outside, or right inside of Hinesville, Georgia, just outside Fort Stewart. And I lived there for several years. And this is an ongoing investigation, countrywide. There is this chain of a church located outside several military bases across the country that there's been dozens, I don't even know the right number. I don't know the right number. At least several. I'm not going to throw an outrageous number and be like, yeah, you're wrong.
1 million.
No, but I'm going to say a good handful, that would be more accurate, of churches that have been busted for trafficking kids. And they're all outside of military bases. This has been my conspiracy for about 10 years. And now I'm beating my chest. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, well, and sex trafficking is a huge, huge business, and I think I might go ahead and, you want to play this clip I have of this is a guy I know here in Indiana, and his name's John Piper, and he's very vocal about the sex trafficking, and he's just a average guy here at a restaurant. His wife's a veterinarian.
Oh, sweet.
And so
it's a great job to have. I love animals.
The Angel Hospital. It's really, they take care of a lot of animals.
If they have a donation site, please put that on the air where people can donate to the hospital, because that to me is really important. I'm a pet person. I love my animals. If people want to donate to a certain animal cause, if they have one, go ahead and put that up. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. And when we play this clip, it'll be I think it's the John Piper Project. You can contact him through this this video because he works on sex trafficking as well. But you could get it's Angel Hospital, and it's
Okay.
here, and I'll try to put that in the comments after. I can't pull it up right now. I might be able to if you can start talking on some stuff, but and I'll reach that real quick. But there's a stat out that is pretty interesting about pet owners. There's 82% of Americans own some sort of pet.
Yes, we do.
And it's like
we love our fur babies
just
as much as we love our human kids. Maybe
even an alligator. I mean, people got alligators, tarantulas, snakes, and
sorry.
I know.
It's not furry and four-legged, it's not my friend.
Not your friend, yeah. Well, you're down there. You're down there in Texas, where they got.
But I will admit, we do
the size of frying pans.
Here in Texas, we have these adorable little lizards. Not little. Some of them they're about this big, and we had one when Josh was mowing the lawn. My husband, we had a big old fatty run across that driveway, and I heard him shriek because we didn't want to run him over. And like this dude, he was a bit of a fat ass. And we love our lizards. We absolutely love them. We've got lizards and burrows of precious bunnies and little field mice. And we absolutely love them. They're more than welcome to make a home on, because I've got a couple of acres, and it's such a joy just to go out and see little bunnies playing, at the back of the property. They're so welcomed.
Yeah, they eat your tomatoes and everything.
You don't have to pay rent.
Yeah, well, we don't. You have like all sorts of funky insects and stuff. Do you have armadillos there?
I have not seen one. That is more towards the other end of Texas.
Other end of Texas, yeah.
My husband could tell you more about armadillos. I think they are literally the ugliest creatures. No, thank you.
They look like a possum with a shell.
Freaking cockroaches. And my husband's like, oh, but they're adorable.
They carry leprosy.
They do.
Yeah. So some of them do.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of armadillos. I'll pass.
Do you have tumbleweeds? Like tumbleweeds, you know what those are? Like little weeds.
The only tumbleweeds I have seen is in the downtown Fort Worth area when a woman loses her wig. That's the only tumbleweed I have seen. Oh,
that's funny. That is a tumbleweed. Tumbleweed.
That's the only tumbleweeds I've seen. Tumbleweeds like out in Kansas.
Okay,
but I haven't really seen them in my area of Texas. It's pretty busy here.
Texas is pretty good size too. I mean,
Texas
my
daughter says those are all South Texas, but we got tumbleweeds up here in this way in Dallas.
Tumbleweeds. Yeah, that's good. I'd be safe then. My hair doesn't blow off. It's like it's thin. It doesn't go anywhere. But okay, we haven't played the clip yet.
Okay, go ahead and play that clip of Joe Piper.
It's John Piper. John Piper.
My bad.
All right, here you go.
All right, John. Now you had a restaurant in Greenwood, and you noticed some suspicious things going on up there, and very relative to your same situation. And how were you able to notice that?
Well, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, you see 6 to 8 to 10 children, Chinese children. They don't look bathed. They don't look like they've been fed, and they're sitting on the street crying, on the curb, waiting to get released in. So all of a sudden, the owners of Number One Walk would show up, unlock the door, and they'd rush all these kids in. Well, it doesn't take a genius to realize, what the hell are you doing? 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning? You got all these foreigners? Nobody speaks a word of English, by the way. So it was pretty obvious.
It was red flag issue there.
Absolutely.
That was a red flag issue. So now that you've seen this, you know what the red flags are.
Right.
And so what would you say to the people in society that how do you know this stuff? Because it seems like it's going on in our shadows and behind the scenes and at different hours. What would you tell people?
I would tell everybody, just pay attention to your neighborhood. If something doesn't seem normal, if you see too many children. I want to point out, hope this isn't too long, the Atlanta airport. When you travel through Atlanta, they have all these public service announcements. Look for some gentleman who doesn't fit with 4 Chinese children. Go to the Flying J, the pilot, you see all these kids being huddled around one big male, you know there's a problem.
So what do you think about that?
I think actually he has a good point. I'm a firm believer, if you see something, say something, screw everybody else's feelings, and people are going to get offended, because there was a situation in April right here. There was a young girl. She was about 14. She was kidnapped from the Dallas Mavericks stadium for a basketball game.
Wow.
And this was right here. And I don't know her name. If I did have her name, I would not put it out there. She's a kid. The Dallas PD would not help because the victim is not a Dallas resident. And North Richland Hills and Keller PD did not help because the crime did not take place in North Richland Hills or Keller. So the parents had to take matters into their own hands because law enforcement completely failed these families. They had to go to a human trafficking organization out in Houston, and they found this kid, 14 years old, on Craigslist.
Oh man, that's
Now,
in my neighborhood. They sell people on Craigslist, you know, and a lot of it is willing though. I mean, these are young girls that don't want to be, and so they put an ad out, and then they disappear.
And this is where this day and age, where everyone gets their feelings hurt and they get butt hurt over everything. You don't think that it was odd for a 14-year-old little girl to be hauled out by a black man who got in the Mavericks game on a fake ticket. His ticket wasn't even valid. And he was waiting outside the lady's bathroom. He watched her go in. He waited for her, and he grabbed her when she got out. And I'm going to say he probably had her by the arm. If you scream, you're going to die. That same thing. Poor baby didn't even see him coming.
So what?
You don't think that would be suspicious?
Yeah, well, that's what John's talking about. You know, and I'm telling you, he was a regular hardworking guy, minding his own business, and he's actually shut down 2 of these places. And when I say shut down, I think they just pretty much moved.
That's what they'll do. They'll just move.
So, you know, he's minding his own business, and these people move in beside him. They're out rural area, 10-acre, 12-acre, 20-acre plots of buildings, and they're supposed to have a cattle ranch there with no cattle. And, you know, people coming at all hours of the day, dropping this off and that off. And, you know, this goes on and you don't really think about it. You think, oh, mind your own business. Don't do all this.
And this is what is so crappy. This is where this system just failed this baby. They found her on Craigslist. They tracked her to a motel in Oklahoma City where there was several other adults. And he rented the room with a fake ID.
Yeah, I tell you, a lot of this stuff, as I said in that interview, it's the shadows and you know, where nobody sees. And honestly, it's a very uncomfortable subject to talk about because you want to not believe that this is true. But
you don't want to incriminate someone that is just maybe, you know, on vacation with a niece or a family vacay. You know, people are just so worried about offending everybody. Now this is going on literally right underneath our nose. You know, we've got entire communities, and you would be surprised. Like, there are preachers involved. There are scout leaders involved. There are law enforcement. There are teachers. We had our band teacher get busted for exposing himself to several children, and the school covered it up. It wasn't until the parents called law enforcement that they had to start their own investigation. They continued to let this teacher go to school. And let me remind you, the year before, he was teacher of the year. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
That's another one of those facades. It's a church. It's reading the Bible. It's that. That's a red flag. I think it's a red flag on some cases.
It is a red flag. I'm not saying that every preacher is a child molester. I'm not saying that every scout
would be bad
leader
for our
is a
ratings
child molester.
if you said that.
But these predators put themselves in a position that they can gain people's trust and have access to the kids.
Yep. Well, you look at Larry Nasser. He's the I actually know someone that went to Michigan State that was actually one of the in the main suit. And I'm telling you what, she was traumatized, and that was years afterwards.
That whole situation breaks my freaking heart because those girls complained. They
yeah,
complained.
And nobody did anything. And, you know, that's when we teach in psychology, you know, one of the things, if you're if you are in a session with someone and you suspect illegal activity, if you do not turn it in, you are breaking your ethical responsibility. It's just bottom line. That you just, and especially if it's a minor or if it's something like this. And sure, it's the easy thing to do is say, oh, well, somebody else will take care of it. But
No,
man, Larry
can't leave
Nassar.
it up to other people. And here's the thing. The FBI covered for Larry Nassar.
Yep. Yeah. And the schools.
They covered for that. Ooh, I was a gymnast for like the biggest part of my childhood. And if I had a coach that made me feel funny, I would tell my mom, that guy gives me the creeps. I don't, whether he was doing anything or not, he made me as a young girl, if I was uncomfortable, if we need to let our kids know, if someone gives you the creepies, hey, come tell us. Come tell us. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You as an adult, whether you're a mom, a dad, or you're just a bystander, if you see something that is giving you, the heaves, your hairs on the back of your neck are standing up, that is your instinct. We were given those instincts and intuitions for a reason. Use them. Don't ignore them. Don't worry about who you're going to offend or who you're going to make mad today. Trust your instincts. And women, this is why we are so intuitive. We were given a gift. Use it.
Yeah. And, we have the internet that can draw in these young kids. And, there's girls that have as young as 6 and 8 that have cell phones.
My daughter's 13. She's on every form of social media, but I am up her butt. I'm like, who are you talking to?
Well, I know, but that's 13. That's not way younger than that.
But with my daughter,
still you could get in trouble. She could talk to the wrong,
And I tell her, just because they say, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
They probably most likely don't know you.
These people,
they don't know you
out there hunting for the next victim of things. And
I said, someone that says that they're your buddy from history class is probably a Larry 2 miles up the road that is 50, living in his mama's basement, looking for his first victim or his 12th. Yeah. Don't talk to anybody.
And I don't know.
My issue is no private information. Do not tell them where you live. Do not tell them any personal or private information. Do not meet with anyone. Nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. What's that show, To Catch a Predator, where they get the people and some of those. It's like, really,
that was a good show.
I don't. Do they still do it?
Him so damn dirty though. That was such a great show. I think it was at NBC.
Yeah, that was like the same with Dateline. I think Dateline's the one that is NBC, right? They
did him dirty.
Oh, really? I thought the thing was still going on, but I don't watch TV anymore. We're actually doing our own TV.
Own podcast that he does himself now.
Okay.
Honestly, he's still continuing on. He's just working. What took him down was that there was a predator that he was eyeballing, and it was actually an executive of NBC, and that's when they fired him.
Ruh-roh, George.
That's what I got.
Wow. Well, hey, this is what the issue is. There's a lot of people higher up in this, and when we have John Piper on, he's not afraid to name names, and he actually met with Jim Jordan and his people today out of Ohio, and they seem very interesting. Now, his story is about 10 years old, and he's very believable, and it is just cover up, and and he is still as passionate as the day after it happened about this stuff, and he's so frustrated. He's just so very frustrated because nobody will listen, and he knows this is going on, and he's honestly got a little bit of an axe to grind because he's been overlooked, and I
don't blame him. He's probably tired of being ignored. This is important.
Yeah.
And usually the ones that are like, oh no, it's a conspiracy, are the ones that are doing it.
Yeah. Well, there's a documentary, I think around 2005, it talked about a bunch of conservative Republican senators that, were always voted against every gay bill that came down the pipeline. And they were the ones caught with
to be pedophiles.
Yeah. They were caught putting their foot under the stall or whatever and all that stuff. It's like, okay. So again, don't judge that book by the cover,
I have a saying that those that scream the loudest have the most to hide.
Yeah. And then what's my wife say? Whatever. Asking for I can't remember. I have to ask her what she said. Something about confessing something that without being asked.
Right.
So you just sort of tell on yourself.
Cord from my laptop.
So,
Thank you.
oh, you're gonna lose your interview. Are you gonna? Your computer's gonna close down.
No, I told my kiddo to go grab me my charger cord.
Hello. Yeah, that's what I mean. You're gonna like lose the battery, so it's bad for the show.
Yeah. I'll be good for a few. Not a big boy. I ran out of batteries like fast. I had a full charge. What a crock.
Yeah, that was. We had some really fun technical issues this Tuesday with John Jacob, who is actually, he's one of our champions here for the the pro-life movement, and we had an abortion show on, and he kept going sideways. His phone kept turning him sideways, and then he disappeared. We just technical nightmares. But hey, this connection's pretty good. We don't have that issue, so that's
How did
good.
That go with that show with your conversation with pro-lifers?
It was interesting because we have all angles. So we have, some pro-abortion and pro-life on there. And these two guys are, they're having a rally tomorrow that they'd already planned like 3 or 4 weeks ago down at the State House. And they're still reps, but they got voted out. They didn't win their primary. So, but we're having a special session here. So I would look for possibly on the 8th of July, we may have movement on this abortion issue. But they're really called special session for giving us some back some of our tax money, because apparently we have $6 million extra, or $6 billion extra in the Indiana budget. I know. Those Republicans, they like to tax and not spend, apparently. But so they're called a special session, but we're also going to be looking at this law, and then also repealing the gas tax. So it'll be interesting. I'm gonna head down there and see what happens. But
keep me posted.
Yeah, I will.
If you need an extra mouthpiece for your pro-life discussions, I would love to join in.
How about I may take you up on we're having next Tuesday, we're having a gun law discussion. It's going to be all female. So I'm trying to we had a mayor of Zionsville, a female mayor Democrat that won Zionsville. And this might be something that's national, but when they talked about the gun laws and all that, she went on an F-bomb tirade on Twitter. And this is the mayor of Zionsville. I mean, F-bomb. I mean, just really tore it up. And wow, it just got everybody fired up about it. And so I tried to get her to come on the show, but I think she's caught so much heat about what she said, the way she said it.
I'm not as like, I am pro Second Amendment, but I'm not like off the rocker nutty about it as like a lot of the far right. I look at it like this: if you give them an inch, no AR-15s for you. You give them that, they're going to want more. Now it's no rifles for you at all. And then it's no pistols for you at all.
And then they take the bullets.
Right. I mean, you can't budge, because they're just going to take and take and take and take. So that's just my opinion on it.
That could be the same on the other side of this pro-life bill. I mean, it's the same thing I'm hearing from that side. I don't know why we have to have such extremes run and I know a lot of middle people. I think we're pretty middle people here.
I mean,
where are the middle people?
I'm a little bit more of a common sense, middle of the road. I don't think this should be a political issue. It makes me angry, the religious gaslighting that goes on, and how their rebuttal is, well, that circumstance never happens. Yes, actually it does. Those smaller circumstances happen more often than what they think. And they're lumping every woman into one category, and that is not fair.
Well, and that's how a standardized government works. I mean, it's like standardized education. It's UNIGOV here. We have a county that pretty much put everybody under their umbrella instead of having townships take care of their local issues. And my township is certainly not like Center Township, and it's definitely not like Lawrence Township. So, how do we all get our fair share? It's like having 9 kids because we're chopped up into 9 townships. You have 9 kids. How do you manage 9 kids? Somebody's going to be mad all the time, and probably somebody's going to be happy. But right now, the way things are going in Indianapolis, nobody's happy. So, they're down there marching right now. They're probably still marching around the circle there.
It's going on all over the country. And see, I can't even imagine what Seattle's like right now. I used to live out that way. Man, those people are freaking communist nuts. They are off their rocker.
A friend of mine moved here from there and lives in Garfield Park right here. He's from Washington. He said, I just couldn't do it. I can't raise my kids out there.
Nope. That's why we didn't move back.
It's like,
we didn't.
Can't do it.
It's beautiful. It's just too communist for me. But they'll deny it. They have statues of their favorite communist leaders, but those lefties will deny the fact that they are communist all day long.
Well, we just lost our lefty crowd. I see the viewers dropped off here a little bit. It's like, let's see who we got. The FBI is going to come after us. We lost some lefties, probably lost some people on the right and all that. But
I've always been a middle of the road girl. I don't think that you should lump every woman into one category. We're all different. We all have different circumstances. This is why this needs to be between a woman and her obstetrician gynecologist. Religion should not come into play. Politics should not come into play. This is a personal decision. Every woman's life is different. We don't know what medical issues this woman may have. We don't know her circumstances. This is between a woman and her doctor. It's nobody else's business.
So today's decision to just kick it back to the state. I mean, they're really just kicking it back to the states. So it's going to be. I wish they do that with weed. So I mean, some people have.
Why? If we're going to kick it back to the states, let's do it all the way around.
Right, I agree, and I'm more of a local. Let's localize whatever works for local people because they're the ones that have to deal with it. I don't
think the government should be regulating weed. I think it should be decriminalized. But every time the government puts their hands in something,
they want to tax it. Shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just how fast can it go there?
Exactly.
Well, we went from doing the Morphew case to sex trafficking to solving the world problems.
We're always all over the place. It's a free for all on our show. And that's why I like it.
So can I pencil you in for Tuesday? It'd be 8 o'clock your time, 9 o'clock our time for our show, Mouthwash.
Sure. We're talking about gun laws, right?
And then you were talking about we're talking about gun laws. You'll have Lucy Brenton on there. She is a libertarian here from Indiana. She's actually the vice chairman of the Libertarian Party. She is a hoot. She's got 10 kids. She wants to burn the government down. I mean, she's like, end the Fed.
I'm in that anarchist phase myself. I'm like, screw you guys.
I don't know if I can have both of you on there, but yeah, you said something about putting the green, the animal house. There's the Angel Hospital stuff.
Anybody wants to donate to causes to help out some animals? We've got a good cause right here. This lady, she's a veterinarian, so she probably gets a lot of strays that need some medical help. So let's
they have
take care of our fur babies and go ahead and donate to this animal cause.
And I put it up in the comments as well. This is the actual website to go to. I don't know if they have a donate button, but you could call them and just thank them for what they're doing. And we'll have John on next month unless something blows up, and we'll do that. And then I'll put you down for the show. Let's see. So we have Lucy. Tiffany is I'm the host usually, but when I step away, Tiffany becomes host, and she would be our Republican. And then we have Lucy Brenton, and then Ed is our Democrat. So I'll be looking for one more female, and I'm supposed to be getting possibly mothers. Have you heard of Mothers Demand Action before?
No.
Have you heard of them?
What is that? What is that?
It's I think it's a anti-gun. Mothers Demand Action is an anti-gun group. It's pretty good size. And then also the Brady group. Remember Brady that got, not the quarterback Tom Brady, but the Brady that got shot when he was protecting somebody. He was shot by the Secret Service, or not by the Secret, by an assassin.
The Brady Bill.
Is he the one that was protecting Reagan?
I know the Brady Bill was enacted during Clinton. I got to do digging on the Brady Bill because that went into action. I was a lot younger and not delved into politics. I was an Army wife taking care of a baby. So I was.
I wonder if
not
somebody
quite
our
delved
great
into
audience,
the
somebody in our great audience that could do that. I wish we had T-shirts or something to give away. We could find out. They would put it in the comments. What's
But
up?
I look at it because the Uvalde shooting, which everybody is so.
How close are you to there? How close?
Very far. Very, very,
very
very,
far.
very far. It's at the other end of the state.
So you're who's Clara Nanette? Is that
That's my daughter.
Oh, that's your daughter. Okay, so she's telling us that these are all South Texas areas.
There's been a lot that's gone on with the Uvalde that is not adding up, and I always wait a while before I post my opinion publicly. And now I can say, I will never ever give up my right to keep a pistol on me if I have to trust cops like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow a little bit, but I honestly, I don't understand. I just don't understand how somebody gets to the point where they got to go kill a bunch of people. I don't get
The feds
that.
knew about this guy though, John. They knew
Well,
about him.
We
They
had
knew about him
FedEx
for a while, and they let him do it.
Just about 2 miles from probably only a mile from my house, the FedEx shooting here, where the guy shot 7 people dead, and he was red flag, and our prosecutor in Marion County,
They think what
out.
People don't understand is that if a person wants to do harm to somebody else, they could get a gun, they could get a golf club, they could get an axe. They can get
a truckload full of fertilizer and go to Oklahoma City. I mean, they do, but I'm going to be devil's advocate and argue the other side of that, but it shouldn't, it's very easy to get said thing. But, it just takes one weak moment to do that. And we talked about the addiction, drugs and things, and I had a couple overdoses here in a van over the weekend.
That is so sad.
It just takes one bad deal for it to go wrong, or it takes one weak moment for somebody to end their existence. And it doesn't take a bunch of those. It just takes one to do something like that. So I'm just mostly concerned with our country's mental health, about how we solve problems with each other. And
we used to have facilities to put people that were suffering from mental illness, and those were shut down.
So yours are shut down in Texas. Yeah, we had Central State, Muscatatuck, we had Newcastle, we had several places, and in our case, the Democrats in the early 90s are the ones that cycled that through.
Right.
And
we do have one hospital. I don't quite know where, but I know that is where Andrea Yates is, and that is.
Oh, is she the one that drowned her kids?
For the mentally impaired.
Yeah, I know, and I do a lot of service with homeless, and man, we are digging down into the deep here.
Oh, we're like nose deep.
We're like the weeds. I mean, I'm going to get poison ivy. We're so far down the weeds on this, but this, I see so much, the homelessness, and it's drugs. I believe drugs are the root of our problem, and these other things are symptoms. If you get rid of the drugs, then the sex trafficking is going to fall off. You get rid of the drugs, you're going to get rid of that cartel money that's out there they'll kill you for a kilo. It's just destroying our country. I see it.
But that's the
day.
Motive. It's destroying society. They've already demolished the atomic family, which was their first goal.
That's the nuclear family. I'm going to play psychologist here. It's a nuclear family, not the atomic family. That's
I'm
like
sorry. Well, I've heard
Jetsons.
it used both. I always call it the atomic family or the nuclear family.
Okay, yeah, I think it might be both, but I'm just trying to keep the show technically correct here. I don't want to be fact checked and taken off of YouTube later because we just said atomic. We were talking about blowing up the world, atomic families, and all that. So
how they'll twist it. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, the nuclear family. For those that don't know that's a mom and dad, 2 kids, and a dog and a cat.
2.5 kids.
And
dad goes to work. Mom stays at home as the homemaker, and that was her choice.
Yeah,
and women were often guilted into leaving the home and going and getting the job. This is where the government made twice the tax revenue, but yet women were guilted to go get a job. We were not really paid quite as much because.
Yeah, I was going to say, throw that in there. Well, and that's what.
You're not going to pay a homemaker the same salary as, you know, a Manhattan ad man that has been at it for 20 years. We were
unless you're Bezos's
secretarial
wife.
classes.
If you're Bezos' wife, you get a pretty healthy paycheck. Or Paul McCarthy's wife, you know, they got a pretty good paycheck for splitting up. So
just marry a millionaire and then just sue him for what he's got.
Yeah. Oh, hey, let's talk about Johnny Depp. I mean, that was a train wreck. I didn't mean to say that when you were drinking, but no. We only got like I'll give you 3 minutes to talk about Johnny Depp. Then we're
okay. That trial was absolutely freaking bonkers. I have never heard anybody come out, just literally pull accusations out of her tail end the way she did. There was absolutely no evidence to back up her claims. And she honestly, with recordings and whatnot, she taunted that poor man. She beat that poor man. And I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased because Johnny raised me. He is
Pirates of the Caribbean, and
you look at what he's done, and he is absolutely precious. He's got such a beautiful heart, and he is eccentric, but he's an artist. Most artists they're a little out there, which I love it. She is a gold digging.
Oh yeah. Hey, I got a joke for that. Gold digger walks into the bar, orders a glass of wine. The bartender says, "Hey, we don't serve minors here." Like gold mine. Yeah, that's terrible. I know. Sorry.
Your dad jokes, I swear.
That's a bad one. That was terrible. It's like, well, hey, a 12-year-old walks into the bar and orders up a beer, and the bartender says, "I can't serve you in here." He says, "Oh, yes, you can. I'm dyslexic." That's funny.
I grew up in the 80s where I got on my bicycle and I would ride across town to pick up my mama's cigarettes when I was 8 years old. So
you're a good kid. Here's another one for you. Why can't a bartender ever spill their beer?
I don't know.
Because they have overdraft protection.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You're driving me bonkers.
All right. Well, let's wrap this. Let's send this old show down the thing. And we'll look at John Piper next week, next month, because maybe some stuff will happen with Jim Jordan, but he's pushed this thing up some pretty tough hills here and not gotten much. So hey, you never know. I mean, this is one of those that could take. I mean, some big names that are involved in this. And I mean, he's got to be careful.
What do we have to lose?
Yeah, that's right. Our wonderful show here would be like canceled. YouTube will cancel us.
We'll just make a new stream.
Yeah, we will. But I like the name though. We worked so hard on the name.
I know. I love the name of our show. I really do. I think it's awesome.
Yep. So all right. Well, hey, let's send her around down the river. And we'll see you next week. Oh, and by the way, you like the backdrop there? I got kids on there because
yes, I do. Lots of sweet faces.
Yep. So, all right. Well, Dee Dee, we'll see you next time. And hey, I'll see you on Tuesday's show. I'll send you the link and all that. And if you want to tune into the mouthwash, hold on. Let me put a banner up there real quick of that, of what our show is here. Let's see. I got it here. Hold on. Let's see. Let's look at this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Well, we get banned on YouTube, but we're at Mouthwash. Let's see. There's a talk show. So it's whatever. We're on Facebook. Let's look up Mouthwash on Facebook. It's just like this one, Forensic Foreplay, and tune in on this week. And then if you're a Red Pill fan, is anybody a Red Pill fan out there? You know what that is?
I'm black pilled. I'm that.
What the hell's that?
I'll have to get into that another time.
Maybe. Well, we have the Red Pill coming here 2 weeks from now.
Oh, so that's exciting.
Edward Griffin, the originator of that, is going to be on the Mouthwash after you're on there. And so we have press passes for Mouthwash, but I don't know. I mean, the Red Pill, I think, is from the Matrix, and it's supposed to open up your eyes.
The blue pill or the red pill, but I'm a black pilled girl.
Black pill.
So.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we'll have to talk about that later. So, all right. Well, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in, and adios.
Amigos. Bye. Y'all have.